Do you feel like the meaning of your existence is somehow tied to how somebody else views you or your relationship with somebody else instead of your relationship with yourself? If yes, then you probably would be interested in what I have to say about codependency in this video. Codependency is when a person's identity is so dependent on what somebody else thinks of them or is dependent on their relationship with somebody else. I'll give you an example. So let's say I identified myself or I placed value on myself only based on my relationship with somebody else. So let's say I didn't think that my sense of identity was that I am so and so's girlfriend. So that means I'm completely dependent on that status or on that relationship with a completely different person in order to find my identity. Another example, let's say I identify very strongly with being my parents' daughter. So my identity is heavily based on the fact that I am their child, not so much that I am me or I have my own identity. And the whole purpose of identity is important here when it comes to the topic of codependency is because your identity or your sense of identity it affects you so strongly. So for example, if I believe, going back to the first example, if I believe that my identity is completely dependent on the fact that I am so and so's girlfriend, I will do whatever is in my power to remain that person's girlfriend. Because if that status went away, if the relationship went away, if he went away, then I'm nobody's girlfriend anymore, and suddenly I have an identity crisis and I just have no meaning in life. The concept of codependency was actually really, really well written about maybe 10, 15 years ago when it was discovered that the caretakers of addicted people stay with them despite how badly they're treated by the addicted person, because they start to identify themselves as a caretaker. So they start to identify themselves as a caretaker of somebody with an addiction. So if the addiction suddenly went away, even the caretakers feels lost. So imagine how hard that is. Not only are you not able to really help a person overcome an addiction, but you're probably subconsciously perpetuating the addiction because your identity is so closely tied to being the caretaker of an addicted person, with all the drama that comes with it, with all the struggle that comes with it. And why am I mentioning all of this? Is because I am so interested in quarter-life crisis. I had it. I probably still do. It's bad. It's not bad. It is what it is. But I had a bad case of it, let's say. And a huge part of that was fueled by me trying to define my identity as being somebody's partner, or by having a certain job and that relationship with the job. But mainly the partner. It was really became a part of my identity, and it was really difficult because the larger part of me wasn't compatible with that relationship, but a small part of me, or maybe an equally large part of me, was so dependent on that identity that I had created for myself as being a girlfriend in that relationship, that I just couldn't leave. I couldn't get out. I was absolutely codependent. My value that I placed on myself had become dependent on my status of being somebody's girlfriend, or my status of being the partner of somebody or my status of being in a relationship. So yeah, this is a really difficult concept. It's hard for me to talk about too, but yeah, codependency is something that is absolutely essential to look at when you are in a quarter life crisis, or when you think you might be in one, or a midlife crisis as well. And I invite you to go, Google it, look it up. A couple of great books are out there on codependency. One of them is Codependent No More. That book is really good. It talks about addiction and caretakers of addicted people, and it's got a lot of psychological evidence backed up into it. Great book. You can just download it on as an audio, it's an audio book, and listen to that. That's what I did. It was good. Yeah, so, and also one other person that actually talks about this in another book, Gabby Bernstein talks about this in Spirit Junkie. She really goes into it and explains it in very easy to understand ways, especially for somebody who's, maybe in their late 20s and go through a difficult transition with the whole quarter life crisis thing. I hope some of this information on quarter life crisis and codependency and how the two are interconnected was useful to you. And if you have any questions at all about quarter life crisis or about codependency, put it in the comments below. I would love to hear it. I will definitely comment back, and I want to hear from you. So put in the comments below and make sure you subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.